Hello, hello, hello. Thora Birch here, and you are listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 349, where tonight we are going to be talking about 2024's In a Violent Nature, currently streaming over on Shudder. I am here, of course, as always, with Todd and the once again sick Steve. Steve, sick 2 weeks in a row? What is going on here, buddy?
I don't know. I guess it's something in the air. Yeah, it's crazy. Just it won't go away. I don't know what it is. It really sucks, but it is what it is. I will carry on for the podcast.
It's probably the Cove, man.
Could
Yeah.
it could
You
be
got the
because
Cove.
it could be because we're recording two episodes on the same day, ladies and
Back to
gentlemen.
back
Like
and out of
it's
order.
it's a little bit of an inside, a
Yeah.
little bit of an inside joke there, but the podcast magic sometimes we have to deal with because Steve is, as of right now, I believe, at Halloween Horror Nights.
I am. Yeah. Yeah. When this episode is released, I will be at the event at Halloween Horror Night. So I will have done 2 days, and I can't wait. It's going to be a fun year. So
Is there a specific house on your list, number one, or are you just eager to see them all?
I hear Insidious is incredible.
Mm.
I hear it's scary as fuck, so I'm really looking forward to that. There's also one that's of particular interest to me called Slaughter Cinema 2. Slaughter Cinema is basically each room is a different, like, kind of low budget horror movie, like fake ones, but they're always so inventive with them, and I really loved Slaughter Cinema 1, so I'm looking forward to that too.
Awesome. Yeah, I know anyone that does want to check it out. I haven't watched it. I was telling Sam, I was like, we need to like sit down one night. Like a bunch of YouTube channels get like a media day and they film like walkthroughs of the houses. So if you can't make it out to Halloween Horror Nights, you can kind of see what the houses look like this year. Obviously not as cool as actually being there, but you'll get the gist of it. So I'm excited to see, especially what the Insidious house looks like for this year. So that's pretty cool.
If you want the real experience, you need to put a little bit of fog in your house
Oh, yes.
and BO. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
There you go.
it's perfect combo.
And overpriced drinks
Yeah,
and
yeah.
food and whatnot.
$10
Yeah,
pumpkin beer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Totter,
Yes.
campaign. It's chugging
Campaign.
along.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone that's reached out so far or donated. It's super freaking cool. Especially you guys spreading the word, that helps immensely. But yeah, if you're interested, go over to Indiegogo. You can look up the final episode on there. We'll pop right up. We're one of the only horror campaigns going right now. So yeah, come on over, help us out.
Hell yes. Yeah, I think we're like at a month and a half left to go. So still plenty of time to donate if you'd like to support the movie at all. And it's not just donating. I mean, there's a million awesome perks over there you can still do. Thank you to everyone that has. We've actually sold out of a couple of perks as of this recording, so that's exciting, but still some really cool stuff, including screen use props that are going to be in the movie and everything. So yeah, go and check it out over on our Indiegogo. It's linked all over on all of our social medias and whatnot at this point. So definitely go and check it out. One last thing I need to mention is we are literally just a couple weeks away now from our Hocus Pocus event in Salem, Massachusetts, October 11th through the 13th. This is the final push, ladies and gentlemen. If you can make it out, yeah, it's going to be just a hell of a weekend of amazing events. Just head to it's just a bunch of Halloween.com for all details. And if you would like to join us for the party on Friday night, there's currently a 20% off coupon code you can use. It is Bunch of Horror Squad 2024. You can use for that. If that doesn't work, just send me a DM or something, or send us a link, and I'll get you the code if you spell it wrong or something like that. But 20% off all the way up until the event if you'd like to join us for the party. And that is it, I think, for our intro. So, gentlemen, let's get in to the pod. What you been watching this week?
I have one that I want to talk about right now because it took me like 2 or 3 days to watch it incomplete because that's how it is sometimes. But I watched Hellmaster based on Steve's recommendation over on Tubi, and this was a David MG starring role. David MG passed away earlier this year. Rest in peace from most famously Dawn of the Dead, Flyboy. This one's fucking weird, man. Like I honestly don't know what's going on for a lot of the plot because it just goes everywhere. You got kids in like a school, but there's also a chapel, and they're like in a gifted school where they're like super smart or something, and you have a professor that teaches via uh, I don't know, some kind of display screen, which is really funky, and they all have headsets on and they talk through it like they're little brainiacs and things like that. Meanwhile, you have like this dude, played by John Saxon from, Nightmare on Elm Street fame, and he's like this guy that wants to create like perfect beings or something, and he has like a serum that he injects into people's spines, and they turn into little creepy little creatures, and it's just so all over the place, man. And then meanwhile, David MG is a reporter, and he like kind of cracks like brings this to light what's happening, and then it time jumps 6 months later and like no one's talking about it. So like, did you bring it to light or did you not? Because no one gives a shit that you're killing a bunch of people. And then he goes on like a rampage and tries to be a hero and stuff like that. The movie is okay. Like I wasn't blown away by it, but I did like the creatures. I thought they were really effective. The visuals were pretty dang nice. It's just I didn't know what was going on because it was too convoluted for its own good. And that being said, it's a weird thing that David MG didn't become a bigger star because like I could have easily seen him doing, having one of those careers where he has like 200 low budget horror movies under his belt, and he only had what like three or four, which is super fucking strange, especially with his fame from Dawn of the Dead. So I don't know. Obviously, that's a lost cause. He passed away, but Hellmaster over on Tubi is worth a watch if you just want to see some weird ass creatures and be confused like I was. And give it a 3 out of 5.
Alrighty, I'll go next. My first one tonight, 2024 release, a little movie called The Inheritance. This one stars Bob Gunton, who some of you might know from The Shawshank Redemption and also Dead Silence, among many other things. So this one, he is a billionaire essentially and has a whole, family of rich kids and stuff like that. He invites them all back for the celebration of his 75th birthday. They all get there, and he reveals, "I brought you all here because someone is trying to kill me tonight on the eve of my 75th birthday, and I need you all to keep me alive in this mansion. I am going to lock all the doors of this mansion. I've sent the whole staff home for the night. It's just going to be us and you, my children, in this house, and you need to keep me alive. And if you do not keep me alive, you will not get your inheritance. You will not all get your billions of dollars." And yeah, that's it. And that's basically the story. See, they have to keep him alive throughout the night with many twists and turns throughout. I will say there are obviously horror elements involved here because he made a deal. He made a deal to get rich, and and it may have been with some sort of evil presence. Uh, and I'll leave it at that. You know, overall, like, I mean, it's not like horrible, but it becomes super predictable. I think I predicted the movie like 20 minutes in, like of exactly how it was gonna go down, and it did. I gotta say though, it's like shot really well. I really like the setting, but man, they kill off like one of the best characters, like 15 minutes into the movie, and I feel like after that, it sort of suffers from there on out because all of the other characters are just pretty one-dimensional and uninteresting besides Bob Gunton, obviously. And he's not the character actually that gets killed off first. So but he is great in his sort of limited role that he is in this one. I feel like he was kind of brought in as the reason for people to watch this one because it's definitely a lower budget style movie. But it kind of gave me Succession meets like Ready or Not meets like Insidious vibes, which sounds awesome, but unfortunately it's not as awesome as all three of those things combined. Yeah, I mean it's nothing groundbreaking. It's definitely watchable. I was entertained by parts of it, and it's passable. It's passable, but it's nothing that will crack my top 10 or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, we watched it like on a Sunday day, just to throw on, and I think it's perfect for that. But if you're looking for something groundbreaking, this definitely isn't it. I'm actually upping my score there. I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5 after some more thought. I had it at a 2 out of 5 originally, but it's really not that bad. So that's The Inheritance from 2024.
All right, my first one tonight is the continuation of my year-long project where people from our Discord recommended a movie every month. So this is the September movie, which was recommended by Little Three Chord Me, which is Shaylin, and it is 2017's A24 produced It Comes at Night. So this is the only one from the year that I'd seen before, but it'd been a long time, so I decided to just keep it so I could watch it again. This film is about a family. They live in kind of a decrepit house, and they have all of the doors and windows barred except for one, so they can come in and out of the house and stuff like that to get resources. But there's some kind of thing that's living in the woods that's very dangerous that hunts especially at night, so they need to be careful. But someone breaks into their house, and it turns out that that guy also has a family and he needed more resources, so they reluctantly kind of decide to align and live in the same house together. And then a bunch of stuff happens, and I'll leave it at that as far as the story goes. So this story is very interesting. I was captivated the whole time, even though I knew kind of what I was getting into, and that's because it has a great sense of dread, got great performances, cinematography is really, really good. It just does a really good job of pulling you into the story and trying to figure out what this mystery is. The issue, without spoiling it, is that, in my opinion, it doesn't really lead anywhere interesting. It doesn't give you a satisfying resolution, especially if you're interested in knowing what's going on outside. The majority of the drama and the things that happen from within the house with between the two families. And I think that was kind of a mistake because they draw you in with kind of, what comes at night, when really that was like not a focus of the story at all. So I did enjoy it. As I wrote in my Letterboxd review, I enjoyed the journey. I just wasn't happy with the destination. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. Yeah, it's just one of those films. I wish they'd gone deeper into the mystery, but still worth watching.
That's a perfect segue into mine, actually, which with you saying, I wish they'd go deeper in the mystery. Mine is Loop Track, came out at the end of 2023 from New Zealand. And this one is about a gentleman that has, like, I think, really bad social anxiety issues. They didn't really explain it that much, but he decides to go on like a hike. People are calling him, like, I think he's on the run from a problem or something. They don't really explain what. So he, dumps his cell phone, gets on the trail, and then he starts meeting people. He meets a guy that's like really over the top, wants to be his friend. He meets a married couple that are really friendly. So you're thinking the whole time, like, um, are these people like murderers? Is it supernatural? He keeps like stopping everyone and saying, look, there's something over there in the woods. I see it. And, they say there's nothing there, but we as the audience might see something and then they don't, things like that. So the whole time you're wondering, like, all right, what is it going to be? Supernatural in his head? Is he the killer? Is there a killer? Whatever. And then the reveal comes and it's just like leaves you scratching your head because not to spoil it too much, but it's neither of those things, right? And what they reveal to you is just like, really, there was no signs for this unless I missed them drastically or completely or whatever. So I thought the overall evil slash villain or whatever you want to call it in this movie was very lackluster compared to what they were setting up, which I thought was a really interesting, is it real, is it not, kind of thriller. So that's Loop Track from New Zealand over on Tubi, and I gave it a 3 out of 5. I still enjoyed some of it, but thought the ending was a little bit weak.
All right. My last one tonight, another 2024 release. This one is a Korean film called Exuma. I had seen this one a lot on sort of best horror movies of the year you probably haven't seen yet, stuff like that. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about this one for a while. So I was very excited to check it out. This one's pretty interesting, man. It's about I don't know if like this is like a big thing in Korean culture or something like that, but essentially we meet like a couple of different sort of, I guess, supernatural. I don't know if supernatural is the right word, but basically we meet a medium first off who connects with the dead. She tries to help families who feel like they've been haunted by family members or whatever, or people, haunted houses and stuff like that. And then we meet a man as well who he examines like people's graves to see if there's any like bad like juju in their graves, and if like they feel like if they've been buried in the right place. There's a word for it in the movie. I can't exactly remember that. And I don't know if that's like a cultural thing they do over in Korea or not. I assume it is because I had never heard of this before. But he sort of goes around and examines like people's grave sites and is like sees like if that is a reason why maybe like these ghosts still are kind of hovering around. So he kind of like comes in as like an expert when this medium needs him, and they are contacted by a family that is being haunted by, they believe, by their grandfather. They head to his grave to examine it, and they find essentially a grave that is like in the middle of nowhere in this very deep into the woods, very like creepy location. The guy who does sort of the grave examinations like says like he's never seen anything like it before. This is like something's not right here, blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't want to mess with it. But eventually he decides, okay, like let's do this, but we have to do like a ritual. So the medium does this like crazy ass like ritual, unlike anything I've ever seen before. Obviously, I mean, I'm assuming this is like really steeped in like Korean culture and stuff like that. It was really, really cool though, man. And yeah, they end up, unearthing this grave, moving it, and just from there, like this movie is weird, man, because it's like two different movies, right? So you have like this like very, I wouldn't say typical ghost story, but a fantastic ghost story. But after they move the grave, there's like this big twist, and it starts like this second movie, and I did not like where the twist went and where the second movie goes. This was like the first half of this movie was like top 10 easy for me, but I didn't like where the second half of this movie went. It kind of took me out of it. It's definitely like a folk horror movie, and once again, I think heavily steeped in the culture, in Korean culture, and it's just something I didn't fully connect with in the second half of the movie. So I think other people will probably love this though, for sure. I still think it is a great movie. It's a little too long. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes. So it's definitely a hike to get through. Although I was never bored. I always like was super interested in where they were going to go with it. A plus acting though, like absolute top notch acting throughout this entire movie. It's definitely has a big budget as well, because the set designs and like everything is just top notch, and like even like the effects and stuff are all just awesome. Yeah, man, for me it was a little frustrating because like I really thought this, like for me it was heading to like top 5 territory until the twist came in that takes off the second part of this movie. So overall, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. But I definitely recommend both of you checking it out because I feel like it definitely has top 10 potential for some people. So that's Exuma from this year.
Does the tagline make sense to you? The vicious emerges.
Yes.
That's what it says on Letterboxd. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Interesting.
All right. My last film this week is also a 2024 film, and that is M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, which I watched over, I believe, on VOD. So Trap is a story of a man who brings his daughter to a concert reminiscent of like Taylor Swift, very, very popular like pop artist. And he just wants to kind of please her, and it's a lot of like teenage girls in the audience and stuff. You have a few dads, a few other people, but mostly teenage girls. And he's just trying to be the good father and everything, like that. And he wants to get like a t-shirt for her. And the guy he notices like there's cops and everything are surrounding the stadium. So he asks the guy who's selling the t-shirts, like, hey, what's going on? He's like, hey, there's a very famous serial killer that is apparently going to be here at this concert. So this is basically all a big trap to catch him. And very early on, this isn't a big spoiler, it's in the trailer, you find out that the dad is the serial killer and he spends the rest of the movie trying to have the delicate balance of making sure his daughter is having a good time at the concert while also trying to escape from the concert. And then a series of events happens where, he constantly just eludes the authorities until the end. This movie shouldn't have been called Trapped. It should have been called Conveniences the Movie, because this movie is fucking ridiculous. The amount of times I rolled my eyes at just how implausible the conveniences are. Like, there's so many things that there's like no way in real life that these things would happen. It's like they kept writing themselves into a corner and just thought of the stupidest way to get out of it. It's not to say that I didn't enjoy the movie. I really like the setup. I really like kind of the whole concert venue and stuff. But at one point they get out of the concert and just even more and more ridiculous. I will say, so M. Night Shyamalan's daughter plays like the Taylor Swift kind of the story, and she's very good in her role. But I can't help but think that this whole movie is basically just to make her like a star. And she's great. I just think that maybe she should explore like outside of her dad's web, because she does have the talent. But this movie felt so like, how can I feature her as being this big pop star? Because she's apparently a musician, I think, in real life. And yeah, I don't know. It just felt off, and I I liked it. I just didn't love it. I think this could have been so much better. So I gave it 2.5 stars out of 5. It's an enjoyable movie. It's not one I would personally rent. I think it's something you should see like streaming. And I will say that Josh Hartnett, man, I'm happy to see him back. He kind of disappeared there for a while and had a career resurgence with Oppenheimer last year, and it's cool to see him back because he's a great actor. He really plays his role really well. So that's Trap over on VOD.
Big question about the plot here. So the cops are doing this super secret sting operation to catch a serial killer, and they tell the t-shirt salesman about it, who
They
then
told all
tells
the
Josh
staff.
Hartnett.
Yeah.
Why would they tell the staff? That's so dumb.
It is true. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good point.
Wow,
Yes,
holy
and then
shit.
well, everyone has code words too.
Ah,
So
But the
Code
same
word.
code words for every
Code
staff
words
member.
here. Yeah.
that's dumb as fuck, and I haven't seen it. All right, cool.
No, that is such like a small fucking
Yeah.
problem compared to what
the
else
plot
in
the
this
plot
movie.
conveniences get crazier and crazier as you go along, including the
The very
ending.
end. Yeah.
I want to watch. I'm gonna watch it next. I'm gonna watch
The
that
very
next.
ending might be the most ridiculous of them all too.
I agree.
And yeah, it'd be honestly, it'd probably be a pretty funny one to discuss because we would just fucking go absolute apeshit.
Oh my
on
god,
it.
yeah, we
Like-
spent so much time like fucking dissecting this. Like,
yeah. But
it'd be like Todd Gripes the movie.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
maybe we should save it for
So-
when we have a lull.
Todd
Yeah,
Grape the
maybe.
review.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a good December like review when there's not much out. But yeah, we'll see. It's funny though. It would be pretty entertaining. But yeah, I think Shyamalan's daughter. I think the whole soundtrack is like basically her pop album, like essentially that she wrote for this movie. So it's pretty funny. But she is really good in it. So yeah. Alrighty, gentlemen. I think that's it for What Watch. So Todd, bust out the books, baby, because it is time.
Hmm.
We didn't do it last week. We took a week off.
We did.
So it is time for
Oh,
the
yeah.
return of trivia.
I will say this
Yeah,
though, before you
trivia,
guys continue. This is also the last week
Oh,
of the
shit.
quarter. So, and I think
Oh,
we're all
is it?
tied, aren't we?
We are tied at
So
15
thi-
apiece.
This is it.
Oh, this is for all them. I should have rethought my questions then. All right, well that's on me, I guess. Yeah, we're tied 15 apiece, which is it's either very rare, it's never happened at the end of a quarter where we're tied and it decides all the marbles. Who's gonna watch the worst to be movie that the winners can pick? I hope it's not me because it's fucking some stupid clown movie that Steve will pick or something.
I'm gonna find something else starring
Ugh.
Michael Jackson.
Hell no. God. All right. Who wants to lead off?
I'll go.
All right.
All right. As always, I'm going to start with a little bit of IMDb parental guide.
Oh,
There is a theme. Not going to tell you guys. You'll probably figure it out at some
what
point.
do we watch tonight? What's the
It's
movie?
nothing to do
Violent
with
Nature.
tonight.
The Violent Nature. Okay,
Yeah,
what's the
it's
name?
nothing to do with a violent nature.
Violent movies is the theme.
I
Go.
will not. Yeah, I'll definitely say that. All right. So sex and
Ooh,
nudity.
both?
Both. Yeah, there's both in this movie.
Okay.
A man tries to finger a woman's vagina.
Oh,
as
shit.
one does.
but she stops him before he could do anything.
Wow, that could have been Back to the Future if we were doing
I'm
sci-fi.
gonna skip violence and gore because it's the giveaway. I'll say it last.
Finger a woman before she said anything.
Profanity. The word pussy is said. Alcohol, drugs, and smoking. None.
Oh.
Kind of a clean movie.
Except for the
Frightening
fingering
and
part.
intense
That's
scenes.
angry.
Yeah. Frightening and intense scenes. This movie is supposed to be a horror film, but truthfully, it isn't even that scary. Most of the parts you'd think are scary are really awful and fruitless, and the horrible, unrealistic acting just waters it down considerably.
Hmm.
And now for the giveaway, violence and gore. At the start of the film, a nun stabs a woman repeatedly. Lots of blood spills, and she drags her corpse into the water. A similar scene is shown later near the ending, where she kills another woman like before, but unexpectedly, the victim from before rises from the water and drags the nun into the water.
Oh my.
I think if you don't know that, you're not gonna get it. And
No,
I don't know
this
that.
is a key scene in this movie.
Is it? Well, no, that's a fake guess. But I don't want to use this.
A nun rises out of the water, huh?
Yep. And kills people.
Killer Nun movies. Steve's favorite. New
Yeah,
nuns with big
we've all
guns.
seen this.
Yes.
We have
Mm-hmm.
Killer Nun coming out of the water
Mm-hmm.
for revenge. Jeez, I don't.
Is it A Nun's Curse starring Damien Maffei? Our good friend?
It is not.
Friend of the show.
Yep.
Damien. I have no idea. Did we get hints or are we done?
No,
Since it's so
there's
close.
It's too. It'd be too
All right.
easy.
What
if I
was it?
gave
What
you
was
anything.
that?
Is it the
fucking movie?
Curse of La Llorona?
Nope, it's not the Curse of La Llorona either.
Hey, I just bought that for like $4 at the con. Like,
Oh
nice.
wow, nice.
You guys go up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Todd, you should have known this one, especially
Oh no.
because you executive produced the sequel.
Oh.
It is The Shark Exorcist.
Oh, dang it. Oh man. Yeah. Who on me? All right.
Come on, Todd.
I know. I'll go.
Alrighty.
I am going to give you some IMDb information. You guys are going to give me the movie, the year 1981, the rating, rated R, or NC-17, whatever one you want to go with.
Ooh.
Tag our little cues here. We've got B horror, splatter horror, supernatural horror, teen horror, zombie horror, and just plain old regular horror.
That's a lot of horror.
That's a lot of horror in this horror movie. Going into the actors and actresses here, we got Dorothy Tappert, we got Sarah York, we have Betsy Baker, we got Hal Delrick.
Betsy Baker. That sounds familiar.
And I'm gonna pause.
That's a name
pause
that
right there, because the last two will give it away. Although one of the two that I'm going to give isn't a huge star, but her name is very specific. So we got horror, 81, hard R rating, Betsy Baker, Hal Derrick, also known as Richard Demonicor because they changed his name apparently. Spawned a franchise,
Oh.
and I'm going to leave it at that.
Spawned a franchise.
Spawned a franchise in 1981.
Man, that Betsy Baker name sounds so familiar.
Mhm.
Certainly does.
I'll give you the two remaining names in a second. Well, I'll give you one name because the original name's too easy.
Zombie. Is it? It can't be Friday the 13th.
All right, the final name I will give
Oh.
is Ellen Sandweiss.
Oh, Evil Dead.
That doesn't help.
Evil Dead, correct?
Okay, that didn't help me.
Yeah, I'm like Betsy Baker.
I
That's,
Betsy
I have
Betsy
her
Baker,
autograph.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Ellen Simon was
Steve on the
together.
board.
All right.
I was overthinking it too much.
Yeah,
All right.
it happens.
Yeah.
My number one. All right, my first question tonight. In Wes Craven's New Nightmare,
Oh.
we've seen it.
Ooh.
We've
Yeah,
seen it. We've reviewed it.
Yeah.
What is the name?
Unfortunately.
What is the name of Dylan's toy dinosaur?
Rex.
Correct.
Really?
Fuck yeah,
Got
got
it.
him. You know how I know that?
How?
Because I am a producer on Dylan's New Nightmare.
Oh, there you
Nice.
go.
So
See,
good
that's
at
what
me.
That's a
Todd
theme tonight.
absolutely hates that movie, but yet produced the sequel or the fan made movie. for it.
That's two just in the
Yeah,
it's our theme
that's
tonight.
funny.
Todd produced movies.
I love it. Let's just keep it going. I got like 6.
All right. Next one is guess the movie based off the IMDb information.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna help Joe out. The hint might be Todd produced movies.
Yeah, that doesn't
Trivia.
help me.
Trivia. The only film to not be nominated for a Razzie Award in this series.
Oh wow.
Huh.
Let's go for goofs. The X-Copter drone is launched by the protagonist several times to view objects in a distance or below, but it never rises more than 10 to 20 feet above tree level each time. If the group truly wanted or needed to see objects in a distance or at ground level from above, they would have had to fly the drone much higher to do so.
Okay, so we're looking at shit with drones. Okay.
Okay,
So it's newer.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
I don't think they
Within,
unless
what,
they had
10 years-ish?
drones in the 80s.
Right. Soundtrack. Pagan dance move written and performed by Arnaud Rebottini.
Ah, Arnold. Yeah, know him well.
Yep.
Know him well. Friend of the family, actually.
Love his work.
Yeah,
love
Joe
his-
had him at his wedding.
Love his pagan dances. I watch them all the time.
And quotes, probably the biggest of the giveaways here. Lisa, you really think your sister could be out here after all these years? James, all I know is if there's any
Oh,
chance at
Friday
all,
the
So Blair
13th.
Witch.
it's Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Nice.
Joe.
Yeah, so
Very good,
Blair
very
Witch
good.
and Book of Shadows both got nominated for Razzies.
So is the theme Razzies or just bad movies?
Well, let's see.
All right. Well, I'm going back to IMDb information. This came out in 1991.
Okay.
It is a sequel. We got slasher horror, supernatural horror, teen horror, and horror/thriller.
It's a lot of
It's currently rated. Doesn't help at all. It's currently
Yeah.
rated a 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb with 47,000 reviews. All right. We will give some key cast members here. I'm going to give you all of them except one. Justin Whalen, Perry Reeves, Jeremy Silvers, Travis Fine, Dean Jacobson, and Peter Haskell. And I went in descending order. So the star of the movie is Mr. Justin Whalen with his co-star Perry Reeves, and I'm leaving out the main actor, like the big actor.
Okay.
I don't have a fucking. I don't know. I don't think I
Justin-
know any of those people.
That's a Justin Whalen. That name sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
Yeah, 91 sequel,
91
5.2.
sequel. Okay.
And I'll give another hint. The main
Yes.
character in this movie has been recast from the previous ones.
Oh.
That's all I'm giving you.
Jesus. 91
Justin Whalen, Perry Reeves,
recast.
Jeremy Silvers are the biggest 3.
So many of the fucking horror films recast their leads though.
Justin Whalen. I got nothing.
Nothing, Steve?
No.
No, give up.
I'll say Fright Night 2 or something.
No, you would find Justin Whalen playing Andy Barkley in Child's Play Part 3.
Lovely.
Yeah.
All right.
Which I like.
Cool.
I like quite a bit.
I do too. Underrated. Okay. I'm also going to do guess the movie based off the IMDb information.
Nice.
This movie was released in the year 1986 with an R rating, clocking in at 1 hour and 26 minutes. Love to hear it.
Love to hear it.
Absolutely.
Super tight.
Categorized as dark comedy, slasher horror, splatter horror, supernatural horror, teen horror, zombie horror, and thriller.
Wow.
Those throw you off, man.
Currently rated at a 6.0 on
Nice.
IMDb
Not bad.
with a Metascore of 30.
Ooh, that's bad.
Starring Jennifer Cook, David Kagan, Carrie Noonan, Renee Jones, and Darcy DeMoss. I'm leaving out the star of the film. Directed by Tom McLaughlin.
Oh,
Oh, Todd might
go
know
ahead.
it.
Keep going. I don't think
Tagline.
Steve knows. He's got that blank look on his face.
I have no idea.
Tagline is Evil Lives Forever.
Is it you said 86?
Yes.
Is it Friday the 13th part 4?
Incorrect.
Fuck me, dude.
Dang it. Was that it?
What's that?
Was that it?
No.
Okay. I'll
He was
wait for the
incorrect.
rest.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is all.
That
I had.
was the
That,
Oh, that is all.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you
Uh,
meant. I thought you meant it was Todd's. I guess right. No.
I will go with.
I got one more after.
I'll go with Friday the 13th Part 5.
Incorrect.
Cheater.
Yeah.
It's is it no, that's not it. That would have been really stupid if I said that. 86, zombie, Evil Lives Forever. I don't know.
I
Dang
don't
it.
know either.
Okay, you guys were so close.
Oh,
Friday the
Part
13th,
six?
part 6. Jason
Yeah.
lives.
Man. Yeah, dirty dog.
all right.
All right.
Last
your
one.
turn.
Yeah. So this one is guess the movie by the IMDb plot. So I'm giving you the actual plot that's written on IMDb.
All
and
right.
Let's see if you can guess what movie it is.
Obviously, it's a shitty ass movie. So based off the other two, but we'll see here.
Suspecting his wife of infidelity, Jerry follows his friend down a dark rabbit hole into a horror landscape of addiction.
I don't know. The special?
Correct?
Yes.
Nice.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes. Amazing. Good movie, man.
What was the theme tonight?
It was each representing our 3 stories in our film. So we had
Oh.
a witch one, we
Okay.
had the special because special delivery,
All
Oh,
right.
you trickster.
and we had a shark one.
All right.
Lovely.
Let's see if you guys get this one because I'm in the lead. Someone can steal it and get a tie. All right. I'm going to give you the IMDb character names. You give me the movie. Have we talked about this movie before? Yes, we have.
Okay.
Smith, DJ, Justin, Cooper, Stark, Peters, Weir, and Miller.
These are all character names.
Correct. And they
Wow.
only say their one name in the movie.
One
Have we
name.
talked about this movie? Yes, we have. Have we talked about it recently? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll go from the opposite order.
Have we reviewed it?
We have.
Oh,
Going from the opposite order. Miller, Weir, Peters, Stark, Cooper, Justin, DJ, and Smith.
none of those fucking things.
None of
names
those.
ring a
Okay.
bell.
Is it Day of the Dead?
It is not. Joseph.
Is it Land of the Dead?
It is not. Should I give more hints?
Yes.
If you'd like.
But my victory will be secured if I do not. I'm not gonna give you the year because I will give it away. Hour 36 minutes. 6.6 out of 10. Classified as horror and thriller.
Jesus.
That don't help me one bit.
Miller. Here's the ones you should know.
Okay.
Miller and Weir. Miller and Weir. Yep. 5 seconds.
I'm gonna
Nope.
go
We're dominant here. Miller, Weir.
No, Night of the Creeps.
Incorrect. Joe. Pass.
No, pass. I
You
got
would
nothing.
find Weir played by Sam Neill and Miller played by Lawrence Fishburne in Event
Oh,
Horizon.
Horizon.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, is that it?
No,
No, I
still
go-
Luke.
Oh, it's a
got-
premature laugh. Dang it.
Yeah.
Does Steve have a chance to
I
tie
don't think I
here?
have a
Don't-
point though.
don't-
So
Yeah,
No.
I do.
Yeah.
Steve
Oh.
has a chance to tie. I'm out officially, but
Yeah,
Steve has a
you
chance
got
to
Evil
tie.
Dead. When I
Oh, that's right.
All right, so this is for the marbles. If
you can tie too, Joe. You got one.
oh,
No, you
I
you
can't.
saying the question.
I'm all done.
Oh, well, I mean, if you guess
So-
it right, even.
So Steve can eat.
God,
So
I'm an
Steve.
idiot.
So
Good
Steve can tie here.
Oh
right.
man.
Which I guess I'll have to come up with a tiebreaker question otherwise. All right. 3 letterbox reviews. Let's see if you can guess the movie. When this movie starts hitting, it hits hard.
It's hard.
Great gore
Mm.
and a cool setting.
That's mine.
I do have issues with the political shit that modern horror seems to love to throw in lately, though.
Definitely.
Um, I, I don't want to say anything else actually because I might
Yeah.
spoil it. But that is, yes, that is Todd's.
Political shit.
Number 2.
Or
I should hate this film. The story is dumb. The characters are unlikable. The tie-ins to the original are forced. There are a lot of issues in this movie. Having said
Candyman.
that, incorrect.
Fuck.
There are a lot of issues in this movie. Having said
Fuck.
that, I don't hate this film. I actually liked it. It's well shot. The kills are incredible. And honestly, I had a lot of fun watching it. And that is Steve's review. And the last review. This is the dead giveaway, and Todd should have waited.
Yeah.
Try anything and you're canceled, bro. May go down as one of the worst lines
Oh.
in cinema history.
Yeah, Steve's got it.
Try
'Cause I know it.
anything
And
and you're
Steve will get it
canceled,
because
bro.
unless his cold takes
Oh
effect.
yeah. Oh,
Come on,
fuck.
cold. Come on, cold.
I know what movie it is.
Come on, cold. No, you don't. Come on,
I
cold.
do.
Take him out.
What's
much
the
time does it get?
fucking name of it though? One second.
You don't know it.
I know the main
No, you
character's
don't.
name.
No,
I
you
can't
don't.
remember the
The
fucking
cold.
movie.
The cold. The cold's taking over. How much time does it get, Joe?
Well,
Give
if
the
you
bullshit.
stop yapping, like,
I'm not gonna stop yapping. This is like Survivor when you're trying to fuck the other guy over.
No, Todd's trying to mentally
No, it's Fear
incapacitate
Factor when
Steve
like
here.
they're eating like roaches or something. He's like, Steve doesn't know it. Pass it on to me.
5-second countdown.
He doesn't
Yeah.
know it. The cold is fogging his mind. He
I don't
can't tune
remember.
me out. It's
I
impossible.
just remember it's
All
Andy
right.
The
Hardy's
movie is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from a couple
Yep.
years ago.
Okay, so that's not even
Correct.
where I was thinking. So
No, all right.
What were you thinking?
the Andy Hardy one.
Annie Hardy. Oh God! Please don't ever ask a question for that stupid movie. All right,
All right.
are we done officially?
I got
Now
mine
we are
fogged,
done.
yeah.
Feels good to be back on top. 3 for me. Big night. Steve and Joe tied at 1 apiece, which brings us to quarter number 3. Victor, myself at 18, Steve 16, Joe 16. I will crunch the numbers, add them to the old list, and see where we're at. But as of now, I get to pick a bad movie for you guys to watch, which is much harder for Steve because he seems to like all those the worst of the worst here. So we'll see. I'll peruse the Tubi halls and figure something out.
All right. Well, we look forward to hearing your title on next week's episode, Todd, for the Punishment movie. And that's it. Trivia starts back over next week. New quarter. And, well, I guess we'll find out the numbers, too, as far as for the year, too. We're definitely
I'm
getting down
back
to
from
the
crunching
end.
them, baby.
Oh, you are? All right. There
The
we go.
standings are as follows. Steve in a commanding lead with 53. Myself, second place, 48. Joe trailing at 42.
Ooh.
Still any man's game, though. Quarter 4 resumes, like Joe said.
All right. Sweet. All righty then. It is time then, ladies and gentlemen, for our main event of the evening, 2024's In a Violent Nature, starring Rye Barrett, Andrea Pavlovic, Cameron Love, Reese Presley, and Liam Leone, directed by Chris Nash. All right, plot. When a locket is removed from a collapsed fire tower in the woods that entombs the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit spurred on by a horrific 70-year-old crime, his body is resurrected and becomes hellbent on retrieving it. I said that like 3 times, ladies and gentlemen, and I kept having to repeat it, and it still was hard to read. But that's why we have Todd, because he can always give us the best plots that IMDb can't always give us. So, Todd, take it away, buddy.
Thank you. Actually, pretty spot on for the beginning of that, but then they kind of make it a little bit convoluted there. But yeah, dudes are hiking in the woods. They come across like a burnt out, what we think is a shack at the time or something. You know, it's collapsed, it's out in the wet woods, things like that. And there's just a gold locket hanging, and they're like, what's that there for? I don't know. Maybe it's there for a reason. They're like, nah. And one guy snags it. You're like, oh, that can't end well. And then there's like a tube in the ground, like a metal pipe, and starts moving. And lo and behold, we have this gentleman get out of the earth like he was in a grave or something. He comes up. You don't really see him all that well. It's shot mostly from behind in like a third-person shooter kind of video game status, which I enjoy, but we'll talk about that later. And then he just starts walking through the forest like just a mindless drone, right? He starts turning when he sees when he hears noises, he turns in that direction, you know, to go see what it is. And he hears another one, he turns in that direction. Meanwhile, we learn through a flashback. Johnny goes to this guy's house. We learn through a flashback that this locket was given to him, to Johnny, by his father, and his mother like owned it or whatever. It belonged to his mom, so it's special to him. Thus, why removing the locket brings Johnny back to life. Turns out also 70 years ago that we learned through a story at a campfire. We have these kids that are camping, they're telling campfire stories and shit. We learned that 70 years ago, Johnny was kind of a special needs kid at a lumberjack camp, and his dad like owned like the shop, and he was like raising prices, and everyone's pissed off, and Johnny is accidentally killed, and then somebody kills all the lumberjacks. So that's like the mysterious legend in this little forest community here. So we follow Johnny as he tries to get his locket back, and we watch him as he attacks various people along his way. I think this one is gonna be pretty divisive among the community, honestly. I think you're either gonna really like it or you're gonna hate it, which I watched it with the homies Brent and TJ, and we were definitely divided in that regard. For one, though, I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's really slow, and it's a big mistake to watch it if you're at any point tired, or you've had a long day, or it's at nighttime. Like, I think you definitely need to watch this one when you have some energy, because you may fall asleep. But I think if you give it a chance to let it play out, is really effective. I thought they did a great job of just showing like the unrelenting actions of a serial killer, because you always wonder, all right, where's Jason, where he's at, during these scenes. And instead of being with the hero characters, the kids, we are mostly 95% focused on Johnny, and it's literally just him, a mindless killer, going from place to place killing people. That being said, there is a lot of stuff that kind of doesn't work at times, but I think it's overshadowed by the stuff that does work. So overall, I really enjoyed it. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought, man, I first of all, I loved the nature setting. Like, I thought it was great. It looked great. I love that they didn't use music at all, and instead used the sounds of nature as the score, which I thought was really cool and unique. And obviously, it was a small budget movie, and it was just a smart way to incorporate just the sounds of nature instead. I love the whole backstory with Johnny. I thought that was really cool. I didn't love the mask. I feel like we should have just had Johnny unmasked the whole time. I thought he looked way cooler without the mask on. Yeah, but this movie's weird, man, because like I feel like it suffers from an identity crisis in some ways, right? Like, because it's too artistic for the slasher fans. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a slasher fan, I feel like this really isn't for you. And then for like the more, I guess, like artistic horror fans, like it maybe is too sort of gory and mindless for them at times. So it's kind of like a weird like middle ground there. And but I mean, I think like you said, I think parts of it works really well and other parts don't. The parts that I don't think work well are when we switch back and forth. Like, I think they should have committed to the bit and stuck with John, like the POV Johnny the whole time. There, and I get it. Like, you had to give a narrative to the story by going to the camper kids, but you could have done it still through Johnny's POV, right? Like, you could have had a behind the back shot, and you still could have heard in on that story rather than switching those camera angles to going straight to following the kids. So that's where I think the movie didn't work. Also, I mean, there are just shots that go on far too long that really, like, at points I found myself checking out. Like my brain would just wander. I think they could have tightened it up. Like, and I know the movie still is about an hour and a half. I mean, go to an hour 15. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to hit that 90-minute mark on these movies all the time. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of filmmakers feel like they need to hit that 90-minute mark, but you don't. You really don't. And 15 minutes of this movie definitely could have been cut of just sort of those long meandering shots of Johnny. I think, sure, you can do it here and there. It works for sure, but after a while, it definitely starts to wear on you. The gore, absolute fucking top notch. Like 10 out of absolute 10 though on the gore. We'll get into the kills. Obviously, there are a couple of kills that are just absolutely brutal, but man, like, obviously for a movie that had a smaller budget, like, holy shit, they spent all their budget definitely on the gore and the gore effects, because they were just amazing. And I mean, I would have took more of it. I loved it, and I mean, overall, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where these guys go next, because I think they have a lot of potential.
I agree with a lot of what you guys said. I think the movie is really cool. It's a really interesting way to like kind of reinvigorate the slasher genre. You know, it's something that we really haven't seen all that much in the past. I agree with Joe that they should have committed to the bit though. I liked that we followed the killer despite sometimes he's just walking around doing nothing. I just liked that it was like almost getting a behind the scenes shot of Jason, like Todd said, which was so cool. I agree, the mask not the greatest. I get why they did it. They're really trying to do the Friday the 13th thing where he finds the mask and everything like that, but it was just too bulky. I don't know. I just it took away a little bit of how special the killer was. Like I don't feel he'd be a horror icon because the mask just isn't anything special. I agree. Obviously, the kills is what most people are going to talk about with this movie. For the first year in the Terrifier year, they got some competition as to best kill of the year. It's going to be hard for Terrifier 3 to top this one. They might. That I believe that Leone has it in them, but I didn't think that category would have any shot of beating Terrifier, and here we are with this one. I agree. It's too long. Some shots are drawn out a little bit too much. Cinematography, like I get it because it's a low budget film. They tried to do some kind of different things, but the cinematography sometimes I was just like, oh, I don't know. I don't love this shot. I think in particular, one that stands out is the kill in the lake. They're like across the lake, and it's this long shot where we're basically watching these two girls, kind of flirting, I guess, with each other, but across the lake. And it's just, and then the kill, like you could barely see the kill. And I don't know, I feel like I get what he was trying to go for, but as a viewer, I was getting bored with it. It's just like it's just too long, and there was a lot of weird cinematography that I felt was a little too off. Like they were trying to get too fancy with it. I think they just needed to kind of stick to what they were doing. And I won't talk about it yet because I'm sure we'll discuss it. But the whole last 10 minutes of the film was completely fucking unneeded. Like the movie was over. Like why what it served nothing to the plot. I don't even know what the fuck it was about. It was such a weird last 10 minutes, and the ending is so important for lasting legacy, because it's what you get up and you get it, you're either excited or you're whatever they're trying to give you as an emotion. But if your final emotion is like, oh fuck, that was long, and that's not a good thing. So I liked it a lot, but there are definitely some issues.
Yeah, to go off your point of that lake scene, especially, I've noticed it a couple other times throughout the movie, but like the lake scene especially was the voiceover dub work, like the voiceover work, like it just like you could tell, right? Like it was just actors like in a like wherever they are, just working off mics or whatever. And it just felt so artificial that it took me out of it. And I noticed that a couple times throughout the movie. Obviously, stuff that can be tightened up, once they, work on a sequel and stuff, which sequel's already been announced. It's happening. They announced it at San Diego Comic-Con, which is cool. But I think the voiceover work definitely could have been better on this movie in particular. I know it was a big negative for me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to people cosplaying as this guy because I can see this
Yeah.
being a pretty popular thing. But I also agree about the mask. It was not needed, or
I
they could
mean,
have gone somewhere
yeah.
else.
I mean, obviously it makes sense, right? Because of the whole like firefighter
Yeah.
thing they were going with and stuff like that. But yeah, to me it just didn't work. Like it wasn't scary. He looked way cooler. Like, I mean, fucking obviously that makeup job was fucking fantastic on him. Why are you hiding that? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
when he
Like,
took off the mask to play with the little toy car, I'm like, this is
I love that.
leave it like
It
this.
might
Yeah.
be my favorite scene in the whole movie, honestly, because like it really brings like that human aspect to the character too of him, which we'll get into it later with the final scene, but I think that's kind of what they were going for
Yeah.
with that final scene.
Yeah, he's just mindless, and that's my favorite thing about this. Is it's just mindless. It's following him as his only instinct is to get his locket back at no cost, and he's just literally following sounds like a predator would. And I really enjoyed it. One thing I liked too was that the ranger, like usually authority figures in movies are the first ones to say like, "Oh, you're lying. That's not true. And that can't be happening." But the ranger's like instantly like, "Yep, I know the story. I was there. I killed him the first time. Like, you need to come with me. Although his fate is absolutely brutal, and I know the head being pulled through the chest slash back cavity was super brutal, but lying there paralyzed as you're watching, you're at the mercy of this guy, and a log splitter is cutting you up is fucking insane, man. That was so fucking crazy, that whole sequence. Um, and yeah, I honestly, like I said, yeah, I agree with you guys. There's some long stuff going on that maybe can be cut down, but I don't know. It grabbed me from the beginning. It felt different, and I really respected it for that. But I am absolutely with you guys. That ending I have in my notes, it's so fucking stupid. Bobby and the bear, who gives a fuck? Shut up. We don't need to hear about this story. But what they're going for obviously was like, because she was like, well, something about it being a drone or something like that. And that's exactly what Johnny is. But Steve's point, now our last impression is like boredom, because that was it. That was the end of the movie. It's really bad.
So I'm going to be a slight defender of the ending, but not completely, because I think it was unnecessary in a lot of ways. But I think as far as tension goes, it was pretty great, right? Because you're like waiting and like you, right? Like for me, like I was like, oh fuck, like he's come, like I feel like there was like a lot of tension in that scene,
I
even
thought she
though
might have been with him.
it was kind of
the lady.
like, I mean, it was kind of like a big case of blue balls, right? Because you're waiting for like, oh fuck, like something's gonna happen, something's gonna pop off here, and then it just never comes. But like yeah, I was like, oh, is she part of this? Like, and they kept doing like shots like into the woods, and you're like, oh fuck, Johnny's gonna come like running out of the woods or whatever, and he's gonna fucking take this woman out. But instead they just kind of went with the narrative choice of her telling this really long drawn out story of her brother being attacked by the bear, which obviously is like I understand what they're going for, right? They're like, okay, well, Johnny is like an animalistic character. However, he's not, right? Because like because the way her story goes is, in the big sort of theme of that story was that animals don't have reasoning. They just go out and kill and move on to the next thing. Johnny had a reason, right? He came out, he wanted that necklace. So Johnny isn't an animal. Johnny is actually, he has reasoning. So they are trying to say like he's not an animal. He had a reason to go out and he found that reason. He got that necklace back and now he can go back and rest. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like, I think they could have found a better way to do that. But so like I didn't exactly hate that ending as much as maybe you guys did. Was it unnecessary? Could they have found a better way to give us that narrative? Absolutely.
I'd say give it like put it somewhere where it's not the very ending. Give us a little something afterwards, even if it's like a teaser for part 2 or something, because it just literally like he goes through the story and then it just cuts and it's over. And you're like, seriously? Like you're in disbelief, and that is just not a good way to end the fucking movie. Like there's a few movies I watch that I mean, It Comes at Night is kind of a movie like that where it ends and you're like, what? Like I didn't, where's my resolution? Like where's stuff like that. So yeah, it was just the wrong time to do that speech.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it could have been like they could have did something in the middle there. I think the perfect way to end it was just him fucking hacking the shit out of that guy, her getting to the truck, getting saved, completely cut out that narrative, and then just go right to the gas can and him sort of having the necklace. But then, I mean, you also have to know like he finally rested, right? Which I feel like even though it was long and drawn out, like we know he's never gonna come again, obviously. So I guess that's what they were going for. But yeah, there definitely could have been a better way to do that. Because you're right, like those last 15 minutes are just like long, drawn out with really nothing happening. So yeah, I'm kind of I'm very like indifferent about it in some ways, because like I'm like, okay, like it's cool in some ways, and then in other ways I'm like, yeah, it's completely unnecessary. So I'm kind of in the middle on that one. I didn't hate as much as you guys.
So you like the tension, Joe, and I did
Yeah,
too, because we were wondering like, okay, when's he coming? Is she gonna drop her off? And that's like the mom, something like that. But
right.
although it's 7 years in the past, but would you have better enjoyed it if she like collapses on the road and just looks off in the forest and the camera lingers there and we don't ever see him come out and we just wonder?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I would even have done that. Yeah, like if she collapses on the road, like you see her, they kind of have a back shot of her, like looking into the woods. You're kind of like waiting for him to come, and then cut to the gas can,
That
him
would've been
taking
cool.
the necklace. You know what I mean? And being like, oh, I guess he's not coming. He got his
Yeah.
necklace, and that's it.
What about the scene where he's hacking that guy like 47 times and you're like, is he gonna stop hacking the guy?
Yeah,
I like
which
that.
I thought it was great because he's the one that took the necklace, right?
Was
It
that
was, yeah.
Colts or something?
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah,
the one that took the necklace. So like
got him.
he saw him and he's like, "Fuck you, you took my necklace." So he's just like goes absolute ape shit on him, which makes sense. So yeah, I really like that. But I mean, I guess let's talk about some of the kills, right? Like obviously before I saw this movie, and I'm sure before you guys saw it, everyone talked about the yoga scene, obviously, and it is pretty fucking awesome, right? Like I haven't seen a kill that brutal in a long time. I mean, it was impressive, man. Really, really impressive that effect and the way they did it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It just kept going and getting worse with every second. Like, okay, he did that. Oh, he's doing more. Oh shit, he's pulling her head through. Like, yeah, I think it definitely rivals Terrifier 2 scene where he's just tortured that girl for 3 hours. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's unfortunately it was somewhat spoiled for me
Mhm.
before watching it. I mean, it was all over fucking X. Like,
I never saw it, so I was a virgin
yeah,
with that scene. So it's nice.
I'd never seen the whole thing, because I always kind of looked away, but I had seen enough parts of it to kind of know where where she'd end up and stuff like that. But it was still really cool to see kind of the full thing. And I mean, there were other great kills as well. I really like the first kill where he kind of puts a saw in his mouth and chops the top of his head off. But then not only that, but he carries the head and the fucking body, which I mean, obviously the body would be way heavier and he's not,
Yeah,
shouldn't be
it
that
kind of looked
strong,
a
but
little light.
yeah, he looked very light, but it was still a cool effect, I guess, to see.
It's cool
Yeah,
that he used his body parts to like break windows and stuff. That was a nice little
yeah,
fuck you.
yeah. That was a weird, like, that's basically the only reason he dragged him, right? It was almost like as a way to get the mask. Could have used anything in that fucking room full of stuff, but yeah, that was an interesting kill as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Todd though. I actually think my favorite kill is the log cutting one. Like obviously everyone's kind of all over the yoga one, but man, just like it just like that's actually a
It's
scene where
terrifying.
it being long and drawn out was fucking perfect for a scene like that, you know? Because like you're just watching him and he's just there so fucking helpless, and he can't even like scream or anything. Because I don't know why he couldn't scream, like because I thought he was just paralyzed, but I mean. To me, it just worked. It still worked. Just him just sitting there in complete and utter fucking shock. You can see his eyes moving and just the slow just progression of first his arm getting cut off and then
Mm.
eventually his head. It was fucking brutal. It was a great kill. But if you're going for straight gore, obviously the yoga kill scene, which I'm sure will be on a lot of people's list for best kill of the year. We'll see what Terrifier 3 brings out, but that log cutting scene definitely is 1A.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's so expertly put together. I mean, he snaps his spine, and you're like, all right, he's gonna leave him alone. No, he's not.
Nope.
He like drags him over to his log splitter, and then for the audience's sake and for him, he gets to watch as he tests the fucking log splitter and then puts his arm in it. So we know what's happening. Like it's so expertly crafted, that scene. It's just full of dread, and it's honestly it's super scary to think about. You just helpless and staring. Yeah, the whole thing's just fucked up.
Yeah. So where, like, I don't. How do you make a sequel though, right? Because like it seems like he pretty much wants to stay at rest. It's only when people mess with his grave site. So is it gonna like I don't know, like how does this not become repetitive? Where like is it just gonna be people continuously stealing the necklace, or are they gonna change the narrative here?
Yeah,
Like where?
he's gonna realize that in all like honesty, it's not the necklace he wanted. He really wanted that number one motherfucker necklace from the beginning, and he
Yeah.
regrets his choice. So he's gonna get back up to find that necklace, and that'll
Uh,
be in a violent nature too.
all right.
Yeah, I love that scene though when he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
walking in and out of the house and the guy doesn't know it.
hmm
Yeah.
Here's one thing I didn't love. Why was it necessary for Johnny to I think he like lodged an axe between the door and the car horn or the seat and the car horn to let the car horn go off to bring them out? Wouldn't he just like go into the house and kill them? Instead, like he fucking goes around the entire house and comes back and kills them. That was one thing a choice that just didn't make sense to me for him.
Cool as hell shot,
It was,
but
yeah.
practically speaking, like you said, he's a
Yeah.
brute. He doesn't need to lure him out at all.
hmm
Maybe because the gun that he had, I don't know.
Yeah, but the guns don't. I mean, it slows them down, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. All right, gentlemen. Is that all we got?
I think so.
All right, awesome. All right, I'll start us off then. Yeah, man, it's an entertaining movie. You know, it's definitely like Todd said, it's definitely not going to be for everyone, but I think if you have some patience and you want to see some awesome gore with a pretty fun story, it's good, man. I really enjoyed it. I just wish it was tightened up a little more. If it was tightened up a little more, it's a 4 out of 5. But because it wasn't, it's a 3.5 out of 5 for me.
I'm close to you. I think if it was tightened up a little bit more, it'd be a 4.5 out of 5 for me. Right now, it's sitting at a 4. I just liked how different it was, man.
Yeah.
I love the cinematography. I love the third person view. Following Johnny as this mindless beast killing people is excellent. The kills we get are fucking brutal as hell, and I just like that it's from the killer's point of view instead of from the teens, which we usually just hate, you know. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for me.
And I'm with Joe on this one, 3.5 out of 5 for the reasons that A, I didn't like the ending, like I said. B, I thought the cinematography fell a little off, and C, I wish they committed to the bit because there are quite a few scenes where you see them from the like victim's point of view, and I think we shouldn't have done that at all. You know, if you're gonna do it, just do it all the way because it didn't make sense to do it that way. Like I know he's always kind of lurking in the background, but it still didn't work for me, you know. So still great movie. I appreciate it for what it tried to do, and that's why I give it 3.5.
Alrighty. And what does our good friends at Letterboxd have to say about this? Currently sitting at a 2.8 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So yeah, like Todd said, pretty divisive right here. So yeah, lower than us, but 2.8 over on Letterboxd.
So we were mentioning the lower budget. This one had a $3 million budget, so
Really?
not tiny,
Wow.
not tiny to say
Yeah, definitely
any
spent on
means.
the
Yeah,
gore effects. That's surprising. I thought it would be way lower than that,
me too.
honestly. But I mean, the gore effects were fucking pretty top notch. Yeah, I'm just trying to think where the rest of that budget would have went.
I don't know. It was filmed in
Canada, right?
yeah, Canadian
Yeah.
wilderness, but it's not like they paid actors that much because they weren't in focus.
Were you
Like
familiar
probably
with the song, Steve? At the end of
No,
the movie.
but I was like I had a feeling it was filmed in my province, just
Hmm.
the way the trees were and
I
stuff like
know
that.
that green. That green
Yeah.
looks familiar.
Yeah, it's actually something like totally off topic I've been learning lately is geoguessing. Just
Oh,
looking at like trees and stuff like that and trying to figure out where you are in the world.
Oh.
And yeah, that's something that I caught. I'm like, this really feels like where I'm from. So
hold on.
Yeah.
I can get make fun of for whittling and making butter, but Steve can play geocaching, whatever, and it's fine. It doesn't make any sense. Whatever.
correct.
I immediately thought Vermont, honestly, before I saw the end with
Which
Canada.
is right under.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was beautiful, beautiful setting. Alrighty. I think that's it for this week's episode, then, gentlemen. Next week, what do we got, Steve?
We are doing our annual Universal Monsters vote. So every year, once a year, we we have our listeners pick a Universal Monsters film and we review it. We have done 2 so far. We did Phantom of the Opera and we did Creature from the Black Lagoon. So this year they will vote on which one we'll do now. So it's up to you.
Awesome.
We'll see.
Sweet. And it'll be a sort of intro probably into our pre 1960s
Yeah.
top 10 list too.
Right.
So it'll be a good start for that. Awesome. So I think are we each gonna pick a movie and we'll put it up to vote on Discord? Is that how that's gonna go?
I was just gonna put like the main on, like I'm not gonna put any
Okay.
of the sequels. I was just gonna put the ones we haven't seen yet. I have a picture of them, so
All right.
I think it'll be, yeah, just pick one.
Excellent. All right. So hey, I head over to our Discord. The vote will be going over on there. In the meantime, you can keep up with the podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. You can email us anytime, the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. But of course, the best way, I just mentioned it, our Discord, completely free to join. It's linked on our Instagram and all over the place. So please join the Discord. Updates all the time regarding especially our movie, the final episode, amongst many, many other things. Don't forget, if you haven't already, leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. It helps get the podcast spread out further. Or you can buy merch, tpublic.com the Horror Squad podcast. That is linked over. All this stuff is really best linked over on our Instagram, but perhaps we'll start a channel too, so it'll be easier for you guys to kind of click all the links. We can link everything in a channel over there on our Discord as well. Just thought of that now. We'll probably do it very soon. And yeah, I think that's about it. Don't forget, once again, Hocus Pocus Weekend, October 11th through the 13th. It's just a bunch of Halloween is the name of the event. Bunch of awesome events. Just head to it's just a bunch of Halloween.com for any and all details. And that's it. So we'll see you next week for our unknown, as of right now, Universal Monsters movie. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.